Hey you guys, it's your girl Show, and I have another review for you guys. It is a really good review, not gonna lie to you guys. I will be talking about Prior Affair by Christina C. Jones. It is the second book in the Night Shift series, and the only reason why I'm not doing a series review, because I did finish the 3-book series. It's 1 novel, 2 novellas. I just have been doing series reviews, so I'm deciding to focus on the second book because I think the second book is the best book out of this series. Even though first and last book were also good in their own ways, this is the book that needs to be discussed. So let's get into it. So first off, let me set the stage. We have a female main character who is technically coming back to I'll call it a generational space for her and her family. It's not necessarily home for her. Haley is her name. But she's coming back to a place that means a lot to her in the sense of her family. She goes back there in this place called, the city's called Blackwood, which I also really like that name. And especially because Christina kind of sets up a lot of history within this city, within all the 3 books, but definitely it's delved into deeper in this second book, Prior Affair. So that also might be why I liked it a lot. But Haley ends up moving into this old house that she bought back into her family, and unfortunately it ends up burning down. It's a really old house. There's a lot of fixes that needed to be made, and she knew that already, but then it just ends up burning down because of like trash fixes or non-fixes that prior owners had like put on the house, which sucks because when you think about it, like people really do this. Like homeowners that are like irresponsible will just like put band-aids on things that need to be completely redone, and that's kind of like what this was. But it just hurt even more because this was a historical house. It was one of the last homes in Blackwood that was standing from like a very long time ago. So that also hurts, especially when you think about like Black home ownership and generational housing. Like this really hurt our girl Haley. Okay, she was really sad and really sick about it, understandably. But of course, in good old fashion, the male main character is actually one of the first responders on the scene to the fire. He's a firefighter. His name is Ellis Boyd, and he ends up helping her, a whole bunch of people there, all the things. She goes to the hospital, da-da-da. But when she's sitting in the hospital after everything's said and done, and she's finally gone out safe, and, she's fine and things like that, he ends up showing up, and he's, looking at her like, she's a good-looking woman, but also wanting to help her get somewhere. Mind you, she just moved here to Blackwood, so this was her place. She's also a journalist, a really good one at that, a really good writer. So she's supposed to be starting her new job like within the next week or so. So she hasn't really started, but this home was like her home space. So he's like, "Can I take you anywhere?" She's like, "Yeah." Oh, wait, never mind, because she doesn't really know where to go because this is the only place that she knows, and she just lost all of that. So she ends up basically allowing him to choose, which ends up being Night Shift. Night Shift, which is this is the Night Shift series, is I would say like a bar, lounge, kind of tap brewery place, because Night Shift is owned by Lakin and his family, who is the male main character in the first book. So they do a really great job with building Lakin into this story and kind of into the next as well. But it's all throughout. Night Shift is all throughout. And this is one of Ellis's favorite places as well. So I love to see all of the little blended pieces of all the different stories together, and how Ellis really, like, this is his passion. Like, he's a firefighter, but he loves to help out in the brewery. He loves to help out with the barrels and all these things like that. So this is like his love baby. So he brings her there, and she's drinking and all this stuff, obviously, because she's trying to let shit go and just have a good time. And she finally decides, let me get a room. She gets a room, and she invites old boy up, okay? Ellis is like, "Oh, thank you." I loved her confidence. That's another thing. I love a confident character. I understand a non-confident character, but in this moment, especially after she lost everything, I thought that was like wonderful to see. It also kind of set the pace for what you end up finding out about her great-grandmother, because you end up sort of feeling like, oh, this is like a trait of the family. Like, even though you find out that her mother, Haley's mother, was kind of running from this trait, it's like this confidence, this sexual confidence is like kind of runs in the family. And I love to see that. So her doing that And, you know, he's kind of like, I'm not sure about this though, dog. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to be going up there. But he does. He gets his shit together. He goes up there. They end up having a good time. But this is kind of like how the story starts. But the reason why I love this story so much, because I'm just going to say it, this was a 5-star book. I mean, 5 motherfucking stars. Okay? The way Christina wove history of Blackwood and then the other city, I can't remember, like Sugar or something, into this story was so beautifully done. Obviously, the investigative journalism that Haley kind of does and puts herself into when it comes to not only this story, but all stories that she's done in the past, I think that really was a great or beautiful piece, because it's the way that she connects to her family. In the past, it was kind of shoved under the rug because her family, quote unquote, her mother and then her grandmother really didn't like that aspect, or they were running from it because her grandmother really saw it as like a bad thing. And then when you start reading the story more, you find out like, oh, there's so many things that happen with the women's in the Freeman family, because it's Haley Freeman. There's so many things that happen that leads to them kind of wanting to get away from this sexual or sexually positive kind of feeling that I feel like some of her generations before that had. And it feels like Haley kind of just brought it all back full circle. Like, yeah, this is why I felt like I wasn't like you guys, because you guys were shunning these parts of you. I'm not shunning these parts of me, is basically what Haley said. And as we get through all these things, it's like when she starts to finally look into her great grandmother's history, it is just like, this cannot be real. I also really enjoyed Ellis's character. There was a little bit of conflict with Ellis more so towards the end. It was like a little bump, a little hiccup. I didn't think it was that bad. Obviously, it felt bad for the female main character, for Haley, because she really, and she says this in the book, like, she doesn't really do all the super emotional things with people. Like, people don't come to her to lay a shoulder on, and when they do, it's really just for like that one night or that one time. It's not something that's consistent. She's the person that could be there for people, like, oh, they need a one-time thing, they need some money, they need this. She's like, oh yeah, you know, if we cool, I'll do that for you, but I don't spend too much time in one space, in one area enough for me to really get attached to people. That's the type of person that Haley was. And so she was getting attached to Ellis, and there was just a little bit of a hiccup with another lady, which is actually the lady that was a part of the restoration project that was going to be restoring her house that had just burnt down. And so I understand why she was upset, but that upsetness went away quickly, which I'm glad it did, because it wasn't that bad. It's like, yeah, you know, Ellis, you just met him. He's been here for a while. Yes, he been fucking. Okay, yes, he been fucking. But he likes you. He likes you. Not just because y'all been fucking, but because he likes you in a very different way, just like she likes him in a very different way that's not normal to her. So I also really appreciated that aspect of it, because I love when people that are different but kind of have the same experiences come together, because that's really what they were. They're very different people, still with a very intertwined backstory that I'm going to get to, but they had the same experience in relationships of like, oh yeah, like I don't really stay for long, especially if I don't think it's gonna work out, or especially if I don't think something is going right, or if I'm just tired of it. They both would leave. So I love that about both of the main characters, because they knew to have fun, obviously with other partners, but they knew when they came together, like, oh, this is different. To be able to notice that as someone that might be the type of person that's like, hey, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, because once the good times go, I don't need to stay, because I'm not here to stay through no bullshit. I think Christina did like a really good job with portraying that in their relationships, their different relationships and them together, because they deserved each other. And then when you find out about her great-grandmother, her great-great-grandmother, and how Ellis Boyd and her great-great-grandmother, Haley Freeman, because that was something that was in her family, that they would give the same name basically, and they would keep that same last name, honestly, because they had I guess you could say like a bad track record, if you want to say it that way. At least that's how the grandmother saw it, like a bad track record of not being married, not doing things traditionally. And so they kept their last names instead of having the last names of the men that were fathering the children. But it's like they both, the current Haley and Ellis, were experiencing like some type of deja vu, some type of like, I feel like we've been here before. And it almost made me think of The Photograph, like The Photograph, the movie with Issa Rae. And not because it's the same type of storyline or it's like, oh, I've been here before. But if you've watched The Photograph, it doesn't have to be your favorite movie or anything, but that movie evokes so much emotion that is surrounded by romance that you kind of get so caught up in it. And this book made me feel the same thing. It was like I was feeling so much hearing about their past historical story in the same way that The Photograph kind of did it with Issa's mother and her lover. And it made me just smile because it's like sometimes things really do come around. And it's crazy when they come around because imagine you being your namesake and then him being the namesake and y'all somehow meet each other and you find out that, yeah, his grandfather was the lover of your great-grandmother, or I should say his great-grandfather too, yeah, was the lover of your great-grandmother as well. And you just sit there like, there's no fucking way. Like, wow. You're just sitting here like, wow. Okay, like that's beautiful. And especially because, you know, her great-grandmother died feeling like she lost so much because the original Ellis Boyd had died protecting her great-grandmother. And so, and it was through the riots and all this stuff, all this racial, during all these racist times and racial tensions. And so to know that he actually didn't die, you find out that obviously, because that's how Ellis is here, because he's the great-grandchild, that he actually didn't die. She thought he died, and she wrote about it in her journal when she went to California, how distraught she was. But she felt like she had to live on because that is what he told her to do. Like, when protecting her, he told her, you have to live on. So that's exactly what the fuck she did. Understandably, but she never forgot about this man. But that man ended up being alive, and he ended up having a family. And so to find out that, you know, generations later, now you've got one Freeman, one Boyd coming together randomly, like on like a random trip, technically with Ellis still saving Haley because the fire. It's like, oh my God, like this is so beautiful. Like this story made my heart sing. It made my heart sing. And I think Christina wrote it so well. Like it wasn't cliche. It wasn't cheesy. I read the book and was connected the entire time. Honestly, I should say connected is the perfect word because Haley was trying to connect so badly to her family. That's why she bought the house in the beginning, because she wanted that to be back in her family's hands. She didn't want it to just be sitting there. And then you also get the story of her mother and why her mother made the decision that she did, because her mother was not as risk-taking as her daughter becomes, and she wasn't as risk-taking as her grandmother was because of her mother. And she didn't do the things that she wanted to do. She didn't marry the man that she wanted to marry. And that affected their mother-daughter relationship. And so to see that, know that, and to also see her acknowledge that was also beautiful as well. Because it wasn't too late, luckily. They had many gripes and conflicts, but fortunately it wasn't too late for their relationship. So it didn't end on a bad note for them. But all that being said, because I'm definitely not going to spoil every single thing about the story. There's so much more history shared, and especially about the great-grandmother, the specifics, the details. I always say the devils are in the details, okay? Christina did her damn thing, okay? Like, if I were to give the whole series a rating, I would give the whole series probably like a 4.5. But this book right here, this central book, this second book right here, Prior Affair, this is a 5-star book. And it made me feel all the good things. It made me feel really good about their relationship. It made me feel really good about the writing. It made me feel really good about the story. I loved every little piece of it. And like I said, because it's a part of the Night Shift series, I loved how the Night Shift bar, place, lounge, whatever you want to call it, is such a central piece to all three of these stories. And because the way that they even talk about the drinks, that they describe, like, I'm not a drinker. So I've never had alcohol in my life. But even in the first book, it's a lot heavier in the detail about the drinks for good reason, because the two main characters are discussing the creations or the marketings of the drinks. But in this book, it's not necessarily that. It's the space, though, that is so central and super important. And I love spaces, okay? Spaces of importance are always going to tell a story. Not only is it Night Shift, but it's also Blackwood, the city itself. That's a central and important space to these stories. And I think she did a damn good job. 5 stars. I absolutely recommend you read it. And honestly, this is not the first book that I've read, but this is the first full series, I think, that I've read by Christina C. Jones, and absolutely love the writing. Absolutely amazing. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.